Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinkard. I'm Jay Wash. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. We are on the Anchor app. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We are also up on YouTube with the video format of the show. Check us out at all those locations. We appreciate all of y'all's support. What's up, Drink? How we doing, man?
Same old, grind. Saturday morning, we up giving the people what they need. You know, we say what they don't, we see what they want. Or maybe I should say that backwards. Either way, it don't matter. Let's roll into it. Let's talk some sports, baby. Let's roll. Let's do it.
Episode 46. The Bucks beat the Hawks. NFL win projections are out, and we discuss the comments Trevor Lawrence made that have the pundits questioning his commitment to football. We begin with another MVP performance from Joel Embiid as the Philadelphia 76ers defeated the Los Angeles Clippers 106-103 last night. Embiid dropped 36 points, 14 rebounds. It was the third straight time he scored at least 35. Furkan Korkmaz added 18 as Philly won its fourth straight, and they maintain a one-game lead for first place in the East. Paul George had 37 for the Clippers, and Patrick Patterson chipped in 18 points in just 14 minutes. The loss snapped a 7-game win streak for the Clippers, who remain in third place in the West. The Clippers were missing Kawhi Leonard. Was that the difference, or is Philly the better team no matter what?
All right. So I guess you can the answer to that question could be both. I do think the Clippers was missing Kawhi, and I do think Kawhi would have made a difference last night, especially in that last possession. Not to say Paul George was a bad option, because he's not. When he's on, he's on. When he's not, he's not. But I thought, you watched the game yesterday. Paul George was on, so I'm not mad that he's the guy to take the shot. I just feel like with Rondo playing the way he played at the end of the game, you would have had Kawhi and Paul George. It would have been a lot easier for Kawhi to get to a shot that he could have made a lot better with Rondo setting them up or with Paul George taking some of that defensive pressure off of him. I just felt like that was a game the Clippers could have very well won. They had one more guy to open it up for them at the end. However, I'm not opposed to the 76ers winning this game, even if Kawhi would have played, because this 76ers team, I'm just telling you, they about as real as it get on it when it comes to locking in and locking down superstar players. No team has done it better than the 76ers this year. I know the Knicks been playing well on the defense side of the ball, Jazz, etc. But when the 76ers has been a whole package this year. When it comes to all-around game, they've been a whole package. You seen it last night. And here's the deal. The Clippers don't got anybody to stop Joel Embiid. Hell, most teams ain't got nobody to stop Joel Embiid. So don't feel bad about it. But at the end of the day, if you got both of these teams at full strength, this game could very well come out the same exact way. Because look, if you run the offense through Joel Embiid at the end of the game like they kind of did, we talked about this on Wednesday. The dude can make his free throws. He can make a three-point shot. He can make a mid-range shot. He can dunk on you. Oh, by the way, he can play defense and get his team the ball back. It's like, pick your poison. How do you want it? Because this ain't the Shaq Attack days where you could just sit here and hack people and he going to go clink, 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 clink. That's dead. Like, this dude can hit his free throw. So, it's just, to me, if I'm being honest, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons both, right? For the last 3 years, we've been talking about blow this thing up. Somebody need to go. Brent Brown out of here. What are you doing with this guy? Hey, where did Al Horford go? Instead of, like, we just got all this going on, right? Without a doubt this year, I think I can say this with tremendous confidence that Embiid and Simmons have took their game up to the next level. They really have. And the fact that both of them have, and I got it. Simmons don't shoot threes and all that. I got it. But they don't need him to do that. I'm not saying this is the perfect excuse, but they don't need Ben Simmons. On this team, they don't need Ben Simmons to do that. Now, if he had got traded somewhere else, that'd probably be a different story. We're gonna need you to shoot some threes. But on this team, you don't need it. You have more than enough shooting. You need Ben Simmons to do what Ben Simmons is. He's focused on defense player of the year. I ain't gonna steal your shine. You had a fantastic question last night about some of the matchup they was doing with him. possible defense player of the year. He should have been. It should have been some other players he was on, but I'm gonna let you speak on that. But then now his partner in crime, Joel Embiid, talking about he should be the defense player of the year. So I like to see that. I mean, is it ludicrous? Probably, but I like to see the competitiveness as far as both of them want to be defense player of the year. They both gonna be in the all defensive team category one way or another. But I just like to see that. It kind of remind me of like the talks the Lakers was having last year when AD was running rough shot, and then LeBron started playing defense, and it's like, oh, these guys play defense. I find it very similar to that. But with everything said, with all the chips on the table, I do think Philly was going to win this game, and the reason being is Philadelphia has a little more at this point to prove than the Clippers had to prove at this point. Yes, the Clippers did get an early exit from the playoffs last year. Got it. At the same time, Philadelphia got an early exit. And their early exit looked a little bit worse than what the Clippers got, right? On the same token, this is only the second year of the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George connection. Embiid and Simmons been doing this for like the last 4 years. So the pressure is on the 76ers, or at least on those two individuals the most, to try to get this done. So I just feel like the 76ers don't really come in there and not take a game serious. We used to the 76ers coming there taking off road games. We only gonna play when we at home in front of the fans, whatever. This year, it just seems like they're coming out, they're playing some good ball. So I find that whoever play the 76ers, no matter if it's a Wednesday or a Sunday or whatever the day it is, national televised, league pass, however you're going to get the best shot from the 76ers of the players that's playing that night because they have something to prove. They want to show that they're a legitimate contender and they have to go out and win these games. Whereas the Clippers, on the other hand, you see it, Kawhi was out, sometimes Paul George out, sometimes Tyronn Lue out. You just never know who's going to show up to the game for the Clippers. But they have less to prove because we know what Kawhi can bring to the table. We know what Paul George could bring to the table. We know what Tyronn Lue has brought to the table. All these guys, we know what they got. Ibaka, So I just feel like, to answer your question and close it out, Philly was probably going to win this game, but I feel like Kawhi would have gave the Clippers a better option at the end of the game, at least more options at the end of the game, especially with how Rondo was controlling the pace a little bit with what he was doing. So all in all, 76ers, man, they out on a mission, but I like where the Clippers at. And I'll tell you, being a Lakers supporter, man, we better watch out for the Clippers this year. I kind of like where their head is at a lot more this year than where it was last year. But the 76ers are probably going to win this game because they got a lot more to prove at this point.
I think this is they split their season series. The Clippers won, what was it, a couple months ago. But in that game, the Clippers were more at full strength. They had Kawhi Leonard and they had Paul George both on the floor. And the 76ers did not have Joel Embiid. The Clippers won that game by 10. So, it can be a dangerous thing to draw, a big conclusion when in each game, both teams were missing one of their, big superstars, MVP caliber guys. But I do think Philly is the better team. The way they defend, we've talked about that. Yeah, you're right about the New York Knicks. There's some other teams that deserve credit, but when you combine what they do defensively with how potent they can be on the offensive side, all the shooters that they've added to this team, I think I give Philadelphia an edge over this team because the Clippers more so than some other teams. They after Zubac, they don't have anybody that has a chance at all against Joel Embiid. And you completely right when you say, there's a lot of teams that can be in that same boat too. But this is something we've talked about the Clippers, going back to last year. The one thing where we felt like they had a little bit of a weakness was on the inside. This is why last season I always made the point, Anthony Davis has to dominate inside for the Lakers. That can be the big advantage for them. Same, a little bit, kind of the same thing for the 76ers with Embiid. Another dominant performance, third straight game. He's, been over 35, third straight game. He's, living at the free throw line, double digit free throw makes and attempts. He's simply too good at this point. He is allowing Ben Simmons to just be in a role to where, you know, although some people are still going to care because when you go out there and you call yourself a point guard, I'd like to see you shoot something. I don't much care about him shooting threes. I'd like to see him shoot from somewhere, and he doesn't even shoot all that well at the free throw line. But that's okay. It's not really hurting Philadelphia, and it may not. That's how great Joel Embiid is. And I have to get this point out the way. I should have said.
Or
right
should
off the
we
bat.
or should we say that's how great this team is constructed this year?
That's that too, because we know last year they suffered a whole lot more because Elton Brand made them so big that the Al Horford thing just didn't work. It just, especially in a modern NBA where 3-point shooting is so important, it just didn't make that much sense at all. You had Horford at the 3-point line the whole game, and then a lot of times Embiid was shooting too many threes as well to allow Simmons some opportunities to roll around in the paint there. But not only this, because we are not going to get a regular season game that we talk about where everyone's healthy. So not only Kawhi Leonard was not out, no Serge Ibaka, no Patrick Beverley, but Philadelphia also missing a lot of key pieces. No Tobias Harris, no Seth Curry, no Dwight Howard. So as usual, might as well I gotta just start adding that into every lead in because we will never ever get a national televised game where everybody is in there. That matters. It's weird because
Right.
I just said Patrick Beverley's name like he matters. But anyways,
He matters when it comes to the energy of the team. That's about it. Like you go give him energy, man.
but I do think Philadelphia is a little better even with Kawhi Leonard being in here because I just find a hard time. I just find a hard time that even Kawhi Leonard, we know how great a defender he is. I think we've seen Kawhi do good things against Giannis. I just think asking even him to guard Embiid is gonna be too much to ask. That's how good Embiid is. The other guys in this game, I thought Court Miles was really good. I thought he was really good on the defensive end. I think he's improved tremendously out there. Got quick hands, coming in with a bunch of steals. And
He filled in well for Tobias Harris last night.
He did.
Because he started for him last night.
And yeah, that Thibault, you keep bringing him up. I think in a series against Brooklyn, he could be really important. You put him out there with Simmons, and Danny Green. Yeah, and yeah, I gotta Paul George. First of all, Paul George has been really good recently. I think he's got 4 straight with 30 points. I could be wrong, but I think I just went through and tallied him up. He didn't do much in the fourth quarter last night. He didn't take the last shot last night. I don't know. I like Marcus Morris, but I don't know. I don't want Marcus Morris taking the last shot there.
I think if I remember that play correctly, I want to say the 76ers kind of took Paul George out. Now, I agree with you. I definitely don't want. But if I remember, he was like stuck. Like, it was somewhere like on like the left side of the court. He was in the corner. And I want to say it was like Ben Simmons and maybe somebody else. They kind of had him stuck. So that's why they forced somebody else to shoot. I just wish Morris would have got a better shot. That thing was a brick.
Yeah.
I mean,
even regardless, I didn't think Paul George played a particularly good fourth quarter.
Well, in the fourth quarter, yeah.
He did not play well in the fourth quarter. Had a couple turnovers that were really costly. Overall, I think the Clippers should be really pleased with how they played. They competed. They were down. They were the best player that was not on the floor last night was one of their guys, Kawhi. So they were. I didn't give them much of a chance at all last night. And especially when you come out and you go down 20-3 immediately, I mean, they did a great job chipping away at that. But, when you come out that flat and you let a team jump all over you like that, it's tough to come back from. They did a great job coming back. They made a bunch of threes as they are prone to do. But in the end, I'm a little more worried about this Clippers team because I'm just as good as Paul George is playing. When it comes to money time in the fourth quarter, I'm not a believer. I've seen enough. So he's gonna have to prove me wrong, hopefully. But I do believe in Kawhi Leonard. So I think Kawhi is gonna be he's gonna carry them as far as he can. Paul George will be there helping out, but in the fourth quarter, I think that's Kawhi time, no question.
I think it's a mixture, right? I think it's Kawhi, and you want Rondo to have the ball in his hands in clutch time. You don't want him necessarily taking the shot, but you want him to have the ball in his hands. And I think he, with his experience, with his knowledge, he know how to get Kawhi to a better shot. He know how to get Paul George to a better shot. Whatever the case might be, I was really impressed with Rondo last night. But one thing I wanted to say before we end this segment, last night made me realize how good the last minute of most NBA games are. I'm just gonna start waiting for the game to get close for me to get that notification and then just start watching the last minute. Cause the last minute is like the whole game to me in a nutshell. Like it's the best time of the game, no matter how bad one team was playing and the other team wasn't. That last minute when it's like a 2-point game is crazy. I just wanted to say that, but hey, we'll see. 76 is just on another level for you, boy. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I did have to say this since we all over the place now. Ben Simmons, Defensive Player of the Year. I got a question though. I don't know why we're coming out starting the game, and I didn't follow this trend throughout the whole game. But he's out there. Who was he? Who was he even chasing? Oh, was he out there guarding Reggie Jackson at the beginning of the game?
Reggie Jackson been hot lately.
I guess he comes out like, Coach, I'm the point guard. I have to guard the opposing point guard. You're also 6'10". Go on out there and guard Paul George, DPOY. You got Danny Green, Danny Green's a veteran guy. He's getting up there, but
he probably can handle Reggie Jackson. He can handle Reggie Jackson.
Yeah,
you're right.
At first, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, maybe he's guarding Kawhi." Never mind, Kawhi's not there. So I'm just saying, you want to come out here and chirping about Defensive Player of the Year. Why don't you guard a legit, a guy who's been in the MVP discussion before? Just saying.